1992, and the NFL's regular season is almost history. But before we close the record books, the three players most responsible for America's team's resurgence have a few marks they'd like to set, including the most wins ever by a Cowboy team. Sadly, the sun will set today on the legendary career of Bear linebacker Mike Singletary. The eyes of Texas will be upon this native son who will hang it up after 12 years of terrorizing opponents. And what does the future hold for this man, Chicago head coach Mike Ditka? After 11 years with the Bears, nobody's sure if he'll return to the sidelines at Soldier Field next year. The regular season's winding down, but remember, the playoffs loom on the horizon. Live at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, the Cowboys and the Bears. Pat Summerall here with John Madden on this warm afternoon, unseasonably warm in fact. And John, it's foolish to call any game a meaningless game. There's a lot at stake here.
Well, you know, you look at the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson, and he says, we want to be ready for the playoffs. We don't want to play sloppy today. We want to be crisp. We want to go into the playoffs strong. Now, an interesting thing on the other side, the Chicago Bears, they had a disappointing year. They're only 5-10, and they're starting this guy, Will Fuhrer. He's a rookie, a left-handed quarterback, fourth-round draft choice. He's only played 4 plays all year. That was against the Cleveland Browns. So this is his first start. We talked to him last night, and he seemed pretty calm. Of course, this guy here isn't very calm because this could be the last day that he coaches the Chicago Bears.
But Mike Ditka was very, very calm when we talked to him last night and really gave us no indication.
No, and he's very interested in being back. He wants to be the Bears coach next year.
Clayton Holmes on the kickoff return breaks almost out of the pack. Out to about the 28-yard line, Troy Aikman opens at quarterback. In front of him, Tuine, Gogan, Stepnoski, Giesick, and Williams. They've all had good years. And speaking of good years, so has Jay Novacek, the tight end. With Aikman in the backfield, Smith and Darrell Johnston. Irvin and Harper will open as the wide receivers. Johnston out. Let's see how they open here.
And, of course, Kevin Gogan is starting for Nate Newton, who didn't suit up today, but did this week, was named to the Pro Bowl.
And very excited about that. That's Novacek on the move. Here's Emmitt Smith. He needs a big day. On defense for the Bears, Dent and Perry and McMichael and Trace Armstrong. They play a 4-man front with Cox and Singletary and Roper behind. Wolford and Fain, the cornerbacks, Mark Carrier and Sean Gale, the safety. And this is a rushing title at stake. Barry Foster of the Steelers, his game is over. Emmitt Smith needs 106 yards today to win the second rushing title. Second and 7. He got 3 of those on first down. Aikman. Irvin wrestled it loose and a flag on the play. Wolford, the cover man, a gain of 7 if it's allowed.
You know, this guy here, Michael Irvin, is also in a race today. He needs 112 yards.
Number 21, defense. Pass is completed. First down.
See him against Wolford here. See, he just runs up and stops. Wolford's in tight coverage. The left hand was okay, but the right hand wasn't okay. Left hand, good play. Right hand, penalty. But anyway, Michael Irvin needs 112 yards to beat out Sterling Sharp for the NFL passing yardage total. So we got some battles going on here today.
Individual and team. Smith, the right side. How about 3 more? And we'd like to welcome those of you who watch Green Bay and Minnesota. The Vikings winning 27-7. They play the Redskins at home in the playoffs as they begin next Saturday. We're at Texas Stadium, and we extend again season's greetings. Emmitt Smith with a lot at stake here. He would like very much, both personally and monetarily, to win the second rushing title of his career.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned monetarily. He does have an incentive. Someone said he didn't have any incentives to win the rushing title. He does have a monetary incentive.
Aikman to Smith. Out of bounds, short of the first down. By Jim Morrissey.
That's where Emmitt Smith is so dangerous, and I think so much a part of this Cowboy offense. The thing that makes the Cowboy offense so dangerous, you can hand it to him, and he can lead the league in rushing, or you can throw it to him, and the guy can always make someone miss and make a big play for you. So he's not only a threat on any play to run the ball, but also a threat as a pass receiver.
Actually, it's a very basic offense, very simple, in fact. But when you have those people like Aikman and Smith and Irvin and the rest of them, it becomes very complicated to stop it. Aikman to throw it. Batted backwards and almost intercepted by William Perry.
That would have been an interesting thing to see William Perry, the refrigerator, to get one on this last day of the regular season and take that ball and rumble on down the sideline. But yeah, Aikman is trying to throw across the middle. He has the lane. I think it was McMichael, number 76, who was blocked on the line of scrimmage, knocked the ball up in the air, and William Perry almost had an interception. But look at McMichael. He was 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage, the rest of the rushers. Perry couldn't catch it, nor could he kick it.
Nor could he pick it up.
He shot 3 air balls on one play.
Saxon's punt is a low liner. It's a Cowboy bounce, and down at about the 16-yard line by Kenneth Gann. So the Bears will take over. 42-yard punt by Saxon. Buehrer, opening quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Very, very little experience, not just in the pros, but anywhere. Up front, Ossine, Ford, Spottenau, Thayer, and Van Horn. Keith Jennings, the tight end. Lewis and Muster open at the running backs, with Davis and Morgan wide. Morgan comes left, Davis right.
I don't think that the Cowboys really expected Fuhrer to start. I don't even know that the Cowboys know that he's left-handed.
Now they know it. Incomplete. Intended for Davis.
Oh, that had to be a penalty on Wendell Davis.
Had to be.
Yeah, he just pushed right there. He just pushed Kevin Smith.
The Cowboys, excellent defense. Haley, Maryland, Casillas, and Tolbert. Norton Jones and Vincent Smith, the linebackers. Kevin Smith and Larry Brown, the cornerbacks, and Washington and Everett, the safety man. Look at this.
Yeah, here it is. You see Kevin Smith there. Now watch. Wendell Davis just pushes him right there. And he put his arms out like he didn't do it. He did it in front of everyone. Everyone saw that.
And off is to Lewis. A loss of a yard.
And there's an exciting guy, Russell Maryland. One, because he's playing football, and that'll excite you. But two, he's from Chicago. And he said, no matter what, you grow up someplace, you're a Bear fan, all your friends are Bear fans, your dad's watching, you always talk about the Bears. And he said, boys, when I get a chance to play the Bears, I better play well.
And when he got over the problems that he had earlier in the season with his foot, he's been playing for the last half of the season like an all-pro.
Yeah, he had two. He has a broken toe and a dislocated toe. But one day he looked down at his foot and the toe was looking back up at him. He knew he had a problem.
Anderson is the lone setback. Fuhrer back to throw it. Pass caught by the tight end, Keith Jennings. Not enough for a first down. Stopped by Norton.
I'll tell you one thing about Fuhrer. He throws fastballs.
Yes, he does.
I mean, that ball doesn't stay in the air for a long time, and that's the secret in this league. The longer the ball stays in the air, the more chance you have for interceptions.
Mike Ditka in conversation with his young quarterback. Actually, he's not that young. Coming back to Kevin Smith. It takes a Cowboy bounce down to about midfield. Cowboys take over in pretty good shape after that 31-yard punt by Gardocki.
Coverage of the national.
Back on a warm afternoon in Texas Stadium. The Cowboys ball just across the 50-yard line. No score as yet. Emmett Smith and Darrell Johnson behind Troy Aikman. Throw on first down if he has time. Outside, that's a lateral to Smith. Just a couple of yards to Richard Fain knocked Smith out of bounds.
This was when you're a rookie quarterback, you're going to get a lot of coaching. Mike Ditka on the left, Greg Landry on Pure's left, Johnny Rowland behind him. Then he goes to sit down. Mike Ditka follows him to the bench. Talk to him. Yeah, any quarterback gets a lot of suggestions. Everyone telling him what to do. But when you're a rookie quarterback, start your first game, and you got everyone coaching.
2nd and 8. First down, tripped up by Morrissey. Now for an NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, it's over in Kansas City, and the Chiefs have qualified for the AFC playoffs. 3 turnovers resulting in 3 touchdowns. Derek Thomas with the fumble recovery in the end zone here. The Chiefs win at 42-20, and they're on their way to postseason play, Pat.
No score at Texas Stadium. Those Chiefs are a strange team. Up one week, down the next. Different running backs. Sort of a mystery.
But that Derek Thomas always looks like a great player.
He's no mystery. That'll be enough for a first. He picked up 3.
The other thing that amazes me about Emmitt Smith is not only does he run, does he catch. We've seen him make some big blocks this year, but the guy always looks fresh. You know, you talk to him during the week, and he's bright-eyed and fresh and jumping around. You watch him play, and he never looks like the defense ever gets to him. You know what I mean?
I know very well what you mean. One thing, he is a lot bigger than he appears to be.
And very, very powerful.
Novacek had it, dropped it.
That's a sight you're not going to see much. Jay Novacek dropping a pass. This is a sight you do see a lot. A defensive coach drawing upside down. That's the way as a defensive coach you got to stand and draw upside down. Put your guys on the bench and they read the plays. They're doing this. We got to do this.
Either you do that or you're selling something.
Hey, they probably just figured out who this Will Furrier is.
Yeah. Well, he played 4 plays against Cleveland, and that's the total of his NFL experience. Here comes a fair blitz, and that's Emmitt Smith. 4-yard gain, stopped by Morrissey again. Bring up 3rd down.
And this is one of the reasons that the Bears aren't as good as they used to be, is because they don't have that dominant defense anymore. Remember when they were a great team? You couldn't do this. You couldn't block like this. You couldn't get holes like this. You wouldn't have running lanes like this.
You just about couldn't block number 72.
Now they're blocking him. Now they're pushing him around, and they lost a lot of great players on defense, and they didn't replace them with great players.
And they're losing another great one after today. Singletary. Aikman intended for Kelvin Martin, incomplete.
I'll tell you one good one that they're going to have, though, is right in the middle of things down there, and that's Alonzo Spellman. I mean, this guy is a big guy. He weighs 285 pounds. Watch him here. He has 5% body fat. I mean, he is a big guy who weighs 285 pounds, and he's skinny. And this guy is going to be a player. I mean, he's only a rookie, but in a couple of years, this guy has a chance to be a dominant player. You get him down, he kicks you.
They're going to go for this on 4th and about 6. Here comes a Bear blitz again. Aikman buying time, and out of bounds he goes.
They didn't get a first down. I think they figured they was too far for a field goal. They didn't want to punt. But I'll tell you, did their left tackle, Mark Tuinei, pick off a blitz? If you want to see someone pick off a blitz, watch 71 at the top. Doink! That is the end of the line.
And look at him. He's ready for somebody else.
Whoever else wants it. You want some action? Come on.
Nothing. The Bears and the Cowboys. 7:56 left to play in the first quarter. Yesterday's finals, New Orleans shut out the Jets. The Raiders came back to beat Washington, but Washington will be in the playoffs against Minnesota next week. First and 10 Bears. 35. Sure. Outside. Anthony Morgan. And again, for the NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, at Foxborough, Pete Stoyanovich from 35 yards out kicks the game winner for Miami in overtime, 16-13. Miami wins the AFC East if Buffalo loses at Houston tonight, Pat.
No score in the first quarter here. Bear first down. A Bear second down, beg your pardon, about a yard to go for a first.
One thing that was impressive there, the Cowboys came on a blitz against the rookie quarterback. The Bears picked it up, and Fuhrer completed a pass.
Muster, the ball carrier, picked up a couple. Stopped by Benson Smith.
You know, yesterday we were talking to Jimmy Johnson. He said that we may do more blitzing because it's the last game of the season. You know, we've already clinched the playoffs. We got the home field. He said we may need blitzing just to get our defense fired up. He said because he doesn't intend, and he's always thinking ahead of things like that. He didn't think his team would come into this game real fired up. So he said we may have to fire them up, and the way to do it is to blitz more than we normally would. Then you get a rookie quarterback, then that gives you a double reason to do it.
Fuhrer chased and down by Casillas. There were a lot of people, particularly here, that thought he should go to the Pro Bowl.
Well, here he is. Let's watch Tony Casillas here. And we know that, you know, as you say, the Cowboys are the #1 defense in the league and didn't have anyone in the Pro Bowl. You see, once he gets this outside arm inside the guard, then he has a free run to the quarterback. You want to get your outside arm inside his arm. And once you do that, there's nothing he can do. Because Tony is a strong and quick guy.
Second down, Lewis is the lone setback this time. Fuhrer calls it fair timeout. Nothing score. 6:15 left in the first. To summarize the NFC playoff picture, the 49ers and Cowboys will have first-round byes. Wild card games, Washington at Minnesota, and the Eagles at New Orleans, and that ought to be some contest. Not that the other one won't. Second down for the Bears. Second and 18. Kelly Blackwell was the move man. Fuhrer on one hop. Not his best.
Yeah, Fuhrer didn't play a lot of football. He went to Pullman High School.
Right.
Rosenbaugh, the quarterback for the Phoenix Cardinals, was the quarterback there, so he just played his senior year. Then he went to Virginia Union, which is, well, not Virginia Union, it was Union...
Fork Union.
Yeah, Fork Union, which was a prep school, and played there for a couple of games. Then he went to Virginia Tech, and so he really hasn't played a lot of football.
Morgan's in motion. Pass deflected, rolling. Flag is down, or an object is down. Not a flag. Let's see what happened. Gordon McCarter is the referee.
Well, like I said, I think it was just a pass rush. The Cowboys didn't know the Fury was going to start. They find out they got a rookie here. Jimmy Johnson said he wants to fire his defense up. He's going to blitz more. He does exactly that. He blitzes more. Darren Woodson came from the left side. No one blocked him at all. He was the first guy that hit Fury.
Gardocki under pressure gets off a low end-over-end punt that bounces. Hit a Bear player at about the 43-yard line of Dallas. Gardocki, left-footed, has had trouble with the pressure from a Dallas rush, something they haven't been doing of late. 33-yard kick. 5:20 left in the first quarter. No score yet.
You know, one thing about that Cowboy defense, that was Darren Woodson that came in on the pass rush. It seems like, Darren Woodson isn't a starter and Kenneth Gant isn't a starter. They're two young safeties, and they seem to be in there a heck of a lot because one of the best things that Cowboy defense does is play nickel defense. In fact, the Cowboys say we look for reasons to get our nickel in there.
Johnson in motion, Emmitt Smith with the ball. Good pursuit by the Bears, limit Emmitt Smith to just 3 yards. Those two guys you were talking about, Woodson and Gant, just a matter of time until they are regulars on that defense. Because they're both very talented and make things happen.
In fact, Jimmy Johnson was saying yesterday if he knew that Darren Woodson was going to be as good as he was, in fact, he was a linebacker in college. They made him a safety. If he knew he was going to be as good as he was, he would have played him more in training camp and he'd be a starter this year.
He's about 215. That's what most teams are looking for now, those big safety men. That's the Johnston. And up for a first down. Wrestled down by Morrissey.
One thing is we see this, the Cowboys have good pass protection. They've had good pass protection all year. And the one thing they don't want to do is go into this last game and get Troy Aikman knocked around too much.
That's Chris Zorich, who hit him just as he let it go. And now that's what Jimmy Johnson's complaining about. After he let it go.
That's what he's saying, and he wants to protect Troy Aikman. In fact, I think Troy Aikman will probably play at least a half, but we're going to see Steve Berline in part of this game today.
And there's another story. Aikman. Irvin.
And Aikman again, just as he threw it or just after he threw it, he was hit. That time it was by Richard Dent. Zorich had played before. Dent on that time. They have pretty good pass protection, but it's not real solid. There's always someone around there. You see, this is a ball. He had to throw that. He threw it a little early, made it a little outside, and a little behind Irvin. But Richard Dent was the guy that made him throw it that way.
Richard Dent, one of those guys who, when certain conditions are okay, can still really bring it to the quarterback. Draw play, Emmitt Smith. First down. A gain of 12 for Emmitt Smith. Morrissey made the stop.
In this play, you're going to see here's Dent here. Now what they're going to do is they're going to try and get him up the field on a draw. Then they're going to come right back into this hole. That's what you do with a pass rush. You try and get him up the field, get him in this position, collapse this side, and then you get that running hole on a little delay or a draw. That gives Emmitt Smith 36 yards for today.
First down, Cowboys. Smith gets another catch. Gets some more yards. Got 7 on that carry, so he's creeping up on Barry Foster.
And the other thing about Emmitt Smith, he always thanks his offensive line. Last year, remember, Emmitt Smith gave all his offensive linemen Rolexes. This year, he's given them all airplane trips to any place they want to go.
Mike Singletary is the Bear who remains down on the field.
And we know today is Mike Singletary's last game. We talked to him on the bus today just before he went into dress, and he was really He's not thinking about last game or last game this, and he's just playing it the way he has for 12 years. There's just one way to play football. You get ready for the game, and you go out and play. And you don't see that sight very often. In those 12 years, you haven't seen Mike Singletary come off the field very often.
Not many times. And when you consider where he plays in the middle like that, every play is full of action.
He's been an inspiration to a lot of people, players and non-players.
Outside to Darrell Johnson. Down at about the Bear 15 by Donnell Wolford and Mark Carrier. Gain of 12.
This play seems to work all the time, the bootleg play. You see where you fake to a back, you fake to Emmitt Smith going to the left, then you bootleg out to the right and you find a tight end, or in this case a fullback, in the case of Darrell Johnston, hit him with the ball. But the bootleg seems to be a pass that is darn near 80 or 90% completed.
Always open, it seems. Alfredo Roberts. The second of the Cowboys tight ends is down.
The Cowboys only have 2 tight ends. Right. They were using a lot more of the 2 tight ends at the same time today.
Final scores: Minnesota knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs with that victory. Kansas City into the playoffs as a result of beating Denver. Miami put some pressure on Buffalo, played Houston tonight with their overtime win over New England. Philadelphia already in the playoffs, beat the Giants. Pittsburgh already in the playoffs, beat Cleveland. And Indianapolis over Cincinnati.
As you were saying, Philadelphia next week on Sunday, we're going to do that game. Philadelphia and the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Boy, that's going to be a heck of a weekend down there. You got the Sugar Bowl one night. You got a New Year's Eve in there somewhere. The partying and stuff. And then you got the Philadelphia Eagles are always tough, playing the New Orleans Saints in a wild card game.
That's going to be a good weekend to play defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend for football. Good weekend for hitting, especially when those Eagles are involved. And yeah, I think that you always say, do the Eagles have a chance? In fighting, they have a term in boxing. It's called a...
Did manage a little bit of a smile, so if injuries can be encouraging, that one was.
And there's the Pro Bowl selection for the Cowboys. You see Emmitt Smith, Jay Novacek are the starters. Aikman, Irvin, Newton, and Stepnoski made the team. There's a lot of talk here in Dallas that their defense, it's ironic, is #1 in the league and didn't have one player make the Pro Bowl.
Deep is Emmitt Smith. Aikman just did get rid of it. Hit just as he let it go.
That's the thing that Aikman's has happened to him today. He's getting rid of the ball, but there's always someone hitting him, just as you said, just as he threw the ball. And again, that time it was Richard Dent. The pass protection is pretty good, but it's not solid where they're getting everyone. There's always been a guy, whether it's a Zorich one time, McMichael hit him one time, and Dent hit him a couple times. There's always one guy that seems to be picking away at Troy Aikman.
So it brings up 2nd and 10. Aikman's 5 out of 10. Johnston again in motion. Emmitt Smith shook one tackler and got down to the 10. Sean Gale pinned him down the gain of 4.
Yeah, that's one of those good news, bad news. Good news is you've clinched everything. You don't have to play everyone. But the bad news is that you have to go for a record, which is also the good news. And the bad news is you have to stay in there to do it. But if you're a player, you should want to play. I mean, I've never felt that they should ever get to the point where someone has to have a reason to win, or someone says, oh, gee, poor Emmitt Smith has to play. Anytime you use that, there's something wrong with this game.
Aikman quick to Harper, who juggled it momentarily and then dropped it, and it was almost picked off, but incomplete after all that. A Bear blitz put again the pressure on Aikman.
Yeah, they're coming after him. Now, that looked like it was a bad throw because Harper was running the slant to the inside, and you want to do two things. You want to lead the guy in a little and keep the ball down. Aikman did two things that weren't very good. He threw it high and behind him. And he got that chin again. It seems like every year Troy Aikman splits his chin open.
A couple of times. Elliott, 28 yards away, no good. Somebody got a hand on it, but I don't think it was high enough to begin with.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jimmy Johnson was saying yesterday, the thing I don't want to do is play a sloppy game and go flopping into the playoffs. And I think so far the Cowboys have started off a little sloppy. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to go flopping into the playoffs.
Right.
Now, that was tipped or knocked down, but the other thing was that was a low kick.
Oh, yeah.
That was James Williams that hit the ball, but I think that ball was just hit right into Williams.
I don't think it would have been good anyway.
No, that's like something, you try and get something up in the air, and it doesn't go in the air. I mean, you have to get the ball up higher than Williams' hand was on that play.
So still no score as the Bears take over. Mustard. A couple of yards, three perhaps, not like Smith and Jones.
Brad Muster was telling us last night, it's interesting, he said Will Fuhrer, of course, the rookie quarterback, he said he gets in the huddle, and before he calls a play, he says, play. He said, just like, well, what else is there? He said, what are you going to say, joke?
Order dinner?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Yeah. He gets down on one knee is the other thing. I always like the quarterback to stand up when he calls a play, but he gets down on his knee, and he goes, play. And then everyone knows the play's coming. What else would come when you're in a huddle?
Neil Anderson. No, I beg your pardon. Darren Lewis. Game 5. Tony Tolbert tripped him up. Anderson has seen action on passing downs, and that's about it. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Dallas nothing, the Bears nothing.
Well, Charles Haley is a Cowboy in the left. Neil Anderson is a Bear in the right. And Haley, no matter what situation, always has getting on someone. I mean, he's always joking or messing with someone, whether it's practice, it's in the locker room. Yesterday, he was yelling at me. He said, tell these defensive backs what DB means. So tell them what DB means. I wouldn't say anything. He said it means dumb bunch. Tell them it means dumb bunch.
You're outside to Keith Jennings, the tight end. 7-yard gain, stopped by Everett, with an assist from Russell Maryland. First quarter statistics, Dallas has 5 first downs, 46 on the ground, 32 in the air, no turnovers so far, but the time of possession goes to Dallas. No score, however.
And the thing that I can think, I think concerns the Cowboys is that Troy Aikman really hasn't looked sharp. Their pass protection hasn't been sharp, and Jimmy Johnson didn't want. They're a little sloppy and a little flopping out there.
Fuhrer gets it outside to Anthony Morgan. Pickup of 6, stopped by Larry Brown and Ken Norton.
Yeah, Fuhrer does have confidence. When we talked to him last night, he had confidence. I watched him here in the pregame warm-up, and he didn't have any of those things that make you say that, geez, he looks like he's nervous, or he looks like he's excited, or he looks like he's scared. He doesn't look like any of those things. He looks pretty confident for a guy, whether he's a rookie or not.
When he met you, he said, "Nice to meet you, sir."
Yeah, well,
I was hoping he wouldn't say that to me, but he did. Nice to meet you, sir.
I said, well, we don't need too many of those sirs in here.
Lewis. That one took a little too long in the backfield to get too much. Larry Brown knocked him out of bounds.
Well, Lewis ran into Fuhrer, and then Fuhrer kind of helped him and gave him a little push. gosh, what's this? This is a little mix-up here. Fuhrer starts out, and he's going to hand it to Darren Lewis. Here, he just runs into him. So Fuhrer takes him and just pushes him that way with his right hand. Okay, here, boom, go that way.
You got the ball, sir.
Yeah. He gives him a little push and sends him out there on his way. Santa Claus, you give a guy a present and then send him on his way. Santa Claus goes with his reindeer.
3rd and about 2. Fuhrer under pressure, gets rid of it. Incomplete, good coverage. Anthony Morgan was the intended receiver, and Larry Brown right with him.
As you said, that was real good coverage by Larry Brown. He was right there, but it was also good by Morgan of not having that ball intercepted. Again, the blitz is picked up. They do a pretty good job of giving Will Fuhrer time to find Morgan here. I think Morgan does a good job of fighting here and knocking that ball. He went from offense to defense.
Gardocki has some time this time, and it shows. Good kick. Melvin Martin signals fair catch at the 13. So still no score. 43-yard punt this time. So we have 12:47 left in the first half. The Redskins will play at Minnesota next Saturday. The Eagles will be at New Orleans, and the game will do next Sunday. Kansas City's in the playoffs. The Steelers, as a result of that victory over Cleveland, have a first-round bye. And they finish 11-5. Miami wins the division if Buffalo loses tonight to Houston. 21-17 Indianapolis over Cincinnati. The Colts have improved by 8 games under their new coach. A familiar name, but a new coach, Ted Marchibroda. Will Fuhrer. Troy Aikman and Mike Ditka really had high praises for Aikman last night after watching him play in the previous weeks on film, or on tape, I should say. Emmitt Smith struggles to the left side, picked up 3.
Yeah, I think you may see the future of the Bears here. They have Alonzo Spellman is now playing left end. Armstrong is out, and Zorich is playing for Perry. So I know when we talked to Mike Ditka last night, he thought that his defensive line with Spellman and Zorich and those guys were going to be good, and the offensive line, he felt he needed help in other areas.
By the way, Singletary is back playing middle linebacker and made a good play then. His intensity certainly hasn't changed.
You play the first and the last, and everyone in the middle is there.
Aikman. Johnson outside the 20. It'll bring up 3rd down. Stopped by Singletary.
The other thing about Singletary is we know what he does against the run and the pass, but watch him at the end. He always uncoils. Here he's going to come across and he's going to tackle Johnston, but he just doesn't wrap his arms and take him down. Watch that explosion. I mean, you explode that shoulder in, and that's the end of it. Then you wrap him up. Some guys just wrap him up. I mean, Singletary brings his whole load, boom, into you, then wraps you up, and has for 12 great years.
Well, you think about the great players that the Bears have had at that position. One of them next to us in the radio booth, Dick Butkus. Before that, Phil George. Over the middle to Irvin. That should be enough for first and gain of 4. But you're right. The Cowboys just don't look. There's Dick Butkus. They just don't look as intense as they have, as intense as he does.
No, he looks intense right here. You look at a linebacker, always has that different look in his eyes. You look at that look. The guy's up there now. He's not hitting anyone. But Dick Butkus always wore that 51 right here. Was always ready to hit someone, and he looks like he still is. The guy right there behind him was a pretty good hitter too. In fact, he just backed out behind the thing. That's Gary Fenson.
Aikman going deep. That's intended for Harper. The coverage is good. It's incomplete. Donnell Wolford back there with him.
Yeah, we were talking talking to Troy Aikman yesterday. He said an interesting thing. Asked him how the week went in the game and all that stuff, and he said, well, to be honest with you, he said, hey, I really didn't prepare for this one the way I have the rest of the games. And that's what you have to like about Troy Aikman. I mean,
Very honest.
It's like the play in the Redskin game. A lot of people say it was an incomplete pass or not. He said, hey, it's a play, we lost. The guy said, I didn't prepare like I did the rest of the time. That's the way he is.
Intended for Novacek and through his hands again.
And I think that Jimmy Johnson really has to be seething because he knew that this can't do anything, but it can win 13 games more than any Cowboy team has ever won. He could do that today, but the most important thing to him was to not be sloppy. And he's a neat freak, Jimmy Johnson is, and I think being sloppy to him means incomplete passes, someone knocking your quarterback down, all these little things that the Cowboys are doing.
A neat freak. I like that.
He is.
Blitz coming. Aikman read it to Irvin. Close to first down yardage. 9-yard pickup. Not enough.
This is where Irvin is so good because he has such a feel, can catch, can run, but the other thing, he's a big guy, and he knows how to use his body. Now, an end becomes a big guy once he gets by the defensive lineman and the linebacker. If an end, Irvin runs into the line, you're not a big guy. Running into the linebackers, you're not a big guy. When you get into secondary, you become a big guy.
Saxon back to punt it. Wolford back deep for the Bears. Level by Kenneth Gant. Watch him.
Kenneth Gant better give us the shark. He'll give the shark somewhere in here.
Shark didn't bite.
First and 10 Bears from the 20-yard.
Hey, there's Kenneth Gant there, and no wonder he didn't give a shark. After he hit Wolford's helmet, he didn't know where he was. He was goofy there.
He was drifting into deep water.
He started to go to the shark, and then he kind of went, whoa!
Here's Will Fuhrer to Morgan. 17-yard pickup, stopped by Everett.
The only problem Fuhrer's having is with that mouthpiece. He has to take it in. He has to take it out to call the play. See, he doesn't have it where it's holding on anything. You got to put it on a string or something. So he got the mouthpiece in the hand. Then he got the plays on the wrist, on the right wrist. Then he gets down, so he has to call the play off the wristband. Then you got to keep the mouthpiece in. Then you put the mouthpiece in. But then you better worry you better not have to call an audible when you get up to the line of scrimmage.
5 out of 8. Let somebody else have it for a while. That's Darren Lewis. Lost a yard. Stopped by Jim Jeffcoat. There's an amazing story.
Hey, it's interesting how well Jim Jeffcoat is playing. Since Jimmy Johnson and his group have come in here, they've been trying to cut Jim Jeffcoat. And they said, they keep putting him down, and then he doesn't start. Then they bring in Charles Haley, and you just keep stirring up the soup, and his head keeps popping up, is what they say. He just keeps playing and getting better, and you don't get rid of him.
Plays either side. Right now he's replacing Haley. Lewis. Stopped by Benson Smith. Someone else that Jimmy Johnson was telling us he wanted to see a little bit more of, Benson Smith.
That's right. They don't play. The linebackers on this Cowboy defense are really not a big part of what they do. In fact, Robert Jones, their rookie middle linebacker, didn't even dress last week against the Atlanta Falcons, and they don't play a lot. Like now they're in nickel. They only have one linebacker in there. You can see there's Robert Jones on the sideline, and this is where they like Darren Woodson and Kenneth Gant. Like they say, any excuse to get nickel in there, and they really
The big cat, Leon Lett. Another one of those success stories on this Cowboy team.
Yeah, Leon Lett, they got him out of Emporia State. Like they didn't even see him play football. They saw him go the length of a basketball court and dunk the basketball. Someone told Jimmy Johnson that, and Jimmy says, give him a scholarship.
That big that can do that, Gardaki punts.
And he is going to be a dominant defensive lineman in this league.
That's an excellent punt. Martin got gets it out of bounds at the 15. One block, but the Bears in good coverage shut him down after that. 7:01 left. No score at Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 7:01 left to play in the first half. William Perry back in the defensive front for the Bears. No score.
They also have Trace Armstrong back in there now. They took both Armstrong and Perry out in the last series, and I think they're just alternating their defensive linemen.
Emmitt Smith out to the 30. John Roper for the ride. Finally got him down after a gain of 15.
I'll tell you, big Kevin Gogan right here. We're going to get a good block right here on the refrigerator Perry, and then Emmitt Smith is going to take the ball right in that hole. See, it starts off as a double team, then Gogan comes off on the linebacker, and when you get a guard like Gogan who weighs about 325 pounds, moving like that, starting on a double team, and then coming up on a linebacker, your running back is going to get what he needs a lot quicker.
That's good work by Gogan. Here's Smith again. Breaks into the secondary, got about 7. Carrier, the safety man, made the stop.
And that was good work by big Kevin Gogan again. That time he caught Perry, though, on a stunt. Perry was kind of going to his right, and Gogan just takes him out. Watch Gogan here. Perry kind of starts this way. Boom, he goes there, and the ball is going to come right in there. For the second time, you see him start to the outside. They start on a little double team, knock William Perry way out, about 5 yards out, and that's what gave Emmitt Smith the hole.
And Stepnoski came off and blocked Singletary after they began that double team. Good coverage this time. Flag on the play. That's how good it was. Another one. Wolford. And that's the first penalty of the game. Michael Irvin saying, hey.
Well, Wolford was arguing it wasn't him, and Irvin was arguing it wasn't him. Here it is right here. Now, Irvin starts to the inside, and I don't think that's a penalty on anyone. Wolford just cut him off, and he was going for the ball, which is a defensive back's right, and Irvin didn't do anything.
Pass interference, number 21 on the defense, automatic first down.
That looked like a good play.
Yeah, that's a good play. If a defensive back, if a corner can't do that, he can't play. And you have to let him do that. I mean, he got a good jump. He cut Irvin off. He just ran in there. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a bad call. And it's tough enough to be corner and play man-to-man. You're out there man-to-man. You're playing Michael Irvin, one of the best receivers in football. And if you can't cut him off and do what Wolford did, then you can't play.
Just heard the announcement to the crowd that Emmitt Smith had set a new Cowboy record. Here he is again. Breaks away from one man, is finally wrestled down by Roper. All that for a gain of a yard.
Well, you know, those great running backs do a lot of those. They give a lot of effort. Sometimes they only gain a yard or two, and they're their best runs. You can think of Thurman Thomas doing some of that. Barry Sanders having some great 2-yard runs, and Emmitt Smith is also in that category. And when you're a great running back like those, you're going to have great runs for a lot of different distances.
And it's kind of shocking to sit and talk to him, as good as he is, and ask him how old he is, and he says 23.
And the last year of the contract.
Incomplete and a flag down. Harper, the intended receiver, covered by Donnell Wolford. Gordon McCarter, again the referee.
Yeah, they called that one on Wolford. There really wasn't a penalty, and sometimes that'll take a little confidence out of you. Now he's had
Pass
2.
interference, number 21
got to be that he had the left hand on his body. But again, that looks like pretty good coverage to me. Like I say, you can't play in this league if you can't do those things. I mean, I know they want the offense to do well and they want to help the offense, but doggone it, you can't take everything away from the defense.
Emmett Smith hit right at the line of scrimmage by Richard Dent, who waves over to Jimmy Johnson for some reason. There's Steve Berline standing alongside the coach.
Well, Richard Dent does that. You know, there used to be a time when guys used to believe that Richard Dent was just a pass rusher, and they thought they could run right at him. And then when he would make a play when they'd run right at him, he would turn to the bench and say, hey, you can't do that. Now, of course, after he's been in the league 10 years and Pro Bowls and everything, I don't know that he does that as much as he used to.
Second down and 8. Side to Emmett Smith. He took a pretty good hit, but he gets up very quickly. Singletary and Morrissey.
Did you see Emmett Smith, though? He didn't even look at Singletary.
No.
He took that hit. And one thing about running backs and guys that get hit, you don't acknowledge the hit. I mean, Singletary really unloaded on him. Emmett Smith just gets up, and he doesn't even look back. He doesn't look at Singletary. He doesn't look at anyone. He just goes right back to the huddle.
I'll get up before you do.
Yeah, right. I think average players talk a lot. I think great players just go back to the huddle like a great fighter going back to his corner.
Third down, Smith picks up the first down and more at about the 11. A gain of 11.
They caught him in a blitz, Pat. The strong safety, Sean Gale, was coming on a blitz, number 23. He was free. They didn't block him, and Emmett Smith, again, with his quickness and so on, just runs right by him. What Sean Gale comes right there. He's free. He runs right by it. Emmett Smith sees him, goes to the right side, makes a little move here, a little move there, and I'll tell you, he is going after this rushing record today.
15 carries for 87 yards. He still needs 22.
I would bet that he gets it today.
I would bet with you.
I would put a crown on his head.
Smith with a 5. Richard Dent will be on the bottom of the pile with Mark Carrier. Gain of 6.
You look at him and they don't hurt him. You know that time, remember as a kid, you know, you can't hurt me, you can't hurt me. I get the feel that when Emmett Smith plays that way, he has that feeling, you can't hurt me. You can hit me, you can do everything, but you can't hurt me, and they can't.
2 minutes to go in the first half. Nothing score.
Because it was third down, which was a passing down. I would have just kept old Gogan and Feinbrad in and thrown to them.
They took 2 out and put 1 in. That's not enough.
See, and then Gogan again, when he goes from left guard, which is an ineligible position, to tight end, which is an eligible position, he has to come out for a play anyway before he goes back to guard.
Right.
See, Charles Haley's explaining that to him, and Gogan's explaining to him. A guy like a big old tackle, a guard like Gogan, they go over and they always say they're open.
Do you really think that's what's going on now, that they're explaining what's going on to each other?
Well, no, what Haley's telling them is they didn't have to put Michael Irvin in the throw. They could have just thrown to you.
Now they got 2 fullbacks. That's AG in motion. Intended for Irvin, incomplete. Covered by Wolford.
Well, Wolford finally won one. The poor guy on that drive, in fact, he's talking to the official back there, he had 2 interference penalties on that drive. I thought all 3 of them were good pass coverage, including that one.
That's a good job.
And he had a little help from Mike Singletary. I think that ball was coming in. Wolford was on one shoulder, and Singletary was zeroing in on him.
Elliott will try from 21 yards away. Like an extra point, except it's on the right hash mark. This one is good. And finally, numbers on the board. Dallas leads 3-0. 4 left to play in the first half. 3-0 Dallas. drive by the Cowboys, 82 yards. 21-yard field goal by Elliott. 36 of those yards coming as a result of penalties. Elliott set to kick off.
I think Wilford did pretty well, though, in those coverage. And then it was interesting that third down pass was broken up by Wilford. No penalty was called, and the Cowboys had to settle for 3.
Lewis at the 1. To about the 23, Derek Woodson, Clayton Holmes. Down to make the stop.
Yeah, this is the thing that Jimmy Johnson likes about Darren Woodson here is the way that they cover, the way they hit the special teams. That they just take on blockers. Guys are always all over them. You can take on a big blocker, come off, and still make a tackle. Guys like Darren Woodson, they don't start, but they play a heck of a lot more than you think because they're on every special team and always on the nickel defense that the Cowboys are playing now on first down.
Less than a minute left to play in the first half. Draw play. Neil Anderson. Second time we've seen him today. Played one other play on a passing situation. Leon Lett made the stop.
Yeah, there's a great running back, Neil Anderson, and he was replaced by Darren Lewis, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to Neil Anderson because I always thought that he was one of the better backs in the league. When you take blocking, catching, running, he could do it all.
Complete.
And I don't know whether he got in Mike Ditka's doghouse or just lost something or whatever, but the last time he used to do the Bears, he was a great player.
Oh, yeah. Pure. And brought it back and completes it to Anthony Morgan for a first down. Everett and Washington.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Pat, to see the Cowboys play the second half. I know that Jimmy Johnson was talking about, getting Steve Berline in there, but again, he wanted to finish crisp. He wanted to play crisp. His offense hasn't been crisp. So when does he make the change? When does he take a Michael Irvin out? When does he take Emmitt Smith? Obviously, he'll take Emmitt Smith out when he breaks a record, but Steve Berline there, number 7, is going to play sometime today. He's a backup quarterback. He's the guy that, really took him to the playoffs a year ago when Troy Aikman was hurt. And even the Cowboys don't expect that Berline is going to be back with them next year.
Well, a lot of things are going to change. They like to keep him. They like to have Steve Berline stay here. And I think he'd like to stay here, but not necessarily as a total backup quarterback.
Well, and Troy Aikman is too young and too good, and you get bored just staying behind Troy Aikman. And Berline's a competitor. He wants to go and play someplace. The Bears wouldn't be a bad place to go.
No.
I'll tell you the other place, the Minnesota Vikings, they have a good team. They need a quarterback. Berline would really be the missing piece to that puzzle.
Anderson on the draw play. Second effort.
It happened. I think everyone thought he was down, and they didn't blow the whistle.
So that's the end of the first half with the score. Dallas 3. The Chicago Bears nothing. Low scoring, almost no scoring first half at Texas Stadium as the teams return. And Dallas leading the Bears 3-0.
Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Coors Light, the silver bullet, is the right beer now. And by Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Emmitt Smith chasing Barry Foster for the rushing title. Has 94 yards today. He still needs 15 as Foster had another big day for the Steelers.
It was an interesting thing, Pat. What they did is they changed. They gave Emmitt Smith 2 more yards at halftime. If you look here, they call this a forward pass, but it was a lateral. Right here, when Aikman goes to throw the ball, you can see here's Aikman and the ball, and here's Emmitt Smith. So that, in fact, was a lateral. So what they did at halftime is they added 2 more yards to Emmitt Smith's rushing total because they had scored that a forward pass in the first half.
out of bounds at about the 16 by Thomas Everett and Ken Gann.
The 17-yard line.
Halftime statistics show Dallas dominating. Time of possession 18:55, 10 first downs, and yardage total all belong to the Cowboys. Lead 3-0.
But they're not good numbers. Look at those passing yards. They've only passed for 51 yards, and this wasn't the kind of half that the Cowboys were thinking of. And I know they have a bye next week, but I think you need better play than this going into the playoffs. I don't believe that you can just turn it on and turn it off anytime you want to do it. And the Cowboy offense did not turn it on other than Emmitt Smith in the first half.
It is still Fuhrer. And quarterback for the Bears, Tony Tolbert, chased Lewis out of bounds, no gain.
You know, if you look at the Bear pass, you see Fuhrer here, he was 3 for 4 to the left. He's a left-handed quarterback, 0 for 1 deep. In the middle, just 1 for 1, 1 for 1 deep. And over on the right side of the field, he only completed 1 pass. So, again, you expect that a rookie left-handed quarterback is going to throw more passes to his left. Of course, he threw all of them were to Anthony Morgan, and the other one was to his tight end, Keith Jennings.
2nd and 10. Fuhrer has looked very confident. Pass whipped out to Darren Lewis. Out of bounds for a gain of about 5 by Norton.
Yeah, that's the first one that he completed to a running back. And we watch the protection here on Russell Maryland. Maryland's trying to take an outside rush on Mark Bortz there. Bortz just catches him going to the outside and just drives him all the way out. That's good pass protection there by Mark Bortz. Like Maryland was probably playing run there and was trying to hit that gap against a sweep or something, and Bortz just took him all the way to the outside.
3rd and 5. 3-0 Dallas.
Fuhrer lost his mouthpiece. You see that? He dropped this, he broke the huddle, and his mouthpiece fell on the ground. He had to go back and pick it up.
Incomplete. Intended for Neil Anderson. Fuhrer under fire.
He's lucky that he got that mouthpiece back in there because, again, a passing down. You know the Cowboys today are going to come into blitz. He had to get rid of the ball, and he did it just in time. Watch him. He knows the blitz is coming. He sees it. He looks downfield and just gets rid of the ball before Gant gets there. I think the Cowboys will probably blitz more in this game than they did all year.
Gardaki's kick, left-footed, is a good one. Kelvin Martin. Wonder when, for trivia buffs, was the last time a team had a left-handed quarterback and a left-footed punter.
I don't know. That is a good one for trivia buffs. Another one for buffs that thought that maybe Aikman would just play the first half. You're wrong. And when we talked again yesterday, Jimmy Johnson said that Berline would play the second half unless things really didn't go well in the first half. And I think we just saw Jimmy Johnson's answer to what he thought about the offense in the first half.
Aikman's still playing. So are the rest of the regulars. Here's Aikman back to throw it. Midfield. First down. Donnell Wolford.
Yeah, one thing here you see Wolford again has really been had good coverage on Michael Irvin all day today. He's been close with everything. That time Irvin just beat him by a couple of yards. That's the thing with Irvin. You know, he doesn't have the greatest speed in the world, but he has good body balance, good moves, and he's a big target. And he knows how to use his body.
First down at midfield as Harper goes in motion. Emmitt Smith moves the whole pile for about 5 yards. 6 yards make it.
Emmett Smith gets a little more.
You know, the thing that you get the feeling, if you look where Aikman threw in the first half, this is all under 15 yards. So you can see he was 3 for 4, 3 for 6, 2 for 5, and then deep, he only threw 2 deep passes in the first half. So I think that's one thing that you have to do to this Bear defense. Anytime you play the Bears, you have to go deep. You have to loosen them up. You have to get them back off, and the Cowboys haven't done that.
Emmett Smith now has 100 yards, 2nd and 4. Wolford again. Good coverage.
The Cowboys must have had some scouting report that they wanted to work on Donnell Wolford. Richard Fain is a corner on the other side, and it seems like they've thrown very little on him, that everything that they've gotten to work on has been on their right side. I tell you, we said they ought to go deep, and they did go deep, and that is great coverage by Donnell Wolford. I think he's playing a heck of a game today.
And Mike Ditka said last night he's playing the best of anyone in the secondary.
Yeah, and that's the guy that it's interesting that the Cowboys have decided to pick on. I think I would try Richard Fain on the other side a little.
3 wide receivers for the Cowboys. Oh, they tried not Richard Fain, but Lemuel Stinson, and picked up 13 with Irvin.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Just try the other side. Yeah, they went that right side all the time, and things didn't go there, so they just go back to this side. As you say, it's Lemuel Stinson now, and he's given a little too much cushion to Michael Irvin over there. I would stay on that one, and Michael Irvin's probably walking back in the huddle, and he's telling Troy Aikman, hey, let me stay and keep working on this left side here a little.
He is chasing the yardage leader, Sterling Sharp of Green Bay, who's already finished, and then lost to Minnesota.
He had a great year, Sterling Sharp.
Here's Emmett Smith, touchdown. Into the tunnel. He might go get dressed.
He will, because he just broke the rushing record. Why come back? You got your record.
He now leads the NFL. 20 carries, 131 yards.
Back-to-back seasons as the NFL leading rusher. That ball will go in a trophy case. They'll take that one and lock that one up in a trunk today.
He'll keep that one for a long time.
He deserves it.
What a player he is, Emmett Smith. Extra point good. He is the only Cowboy to carry the ball today. Justifiably so.
That's as Mark Tuinei is going to come off. That leaves Dent go. They're going to bring Daryl Johnson, the fullback, across to kick out Dent. The play is called bend right. Smith starts here and goes right back here to break the record and do everything. Good block by Tuinei. Great block by Daryl Johnston. And great running, of course, by Emmett Smith. Nate Newton was up here in the booth with us, and he said that's called bend right. And Daryl Johnston does trap the end man on the line of scrimmage.
Nate says Emmett's in the zone now. And he is the NFL's leading rusher.
See, now that's what they do with the ball. They put his number on it. That's Mike McCourt. He's the assistant equipment man.
He wants to be on the All-Madden team.
I don't know. I mean, the guy whose ball went in there is going to be on the All-Madden team. Some of the guys who blocked for him are going to be in the All-Madden team. That guy definitely is the leader of the All-Madden team. I'll tell you, and then, you know, this isn't bad. You know, you talk about the most underrated Cowboy right now. It's probably their left tackle, Mark Tuinei.
And certainly one of the toughest. Will Fuhrer to Morgan. Should be enough for a first down. Bears 11 yards. Larry Brown knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, Nate Newton just said up here, it's too bad that Emmitt Smith broke that record because he's in a zone today. Whatever zone great players get in, when they do things like this, you can see they really they balanced it out 10 times to the left for 94 yards. That's where he got most of his yardage. But he also ran 10 times to the right for 37 yards. And some of those were option. I mean, that last one started right and ended up left.
And he still looks, as you pointed out earlier, very fresh. One ball picked off in the air by Russell, Maryland. And the people in Chicago and in Dallas love that one. You got to practice spiking a little bit and falling down a little bit.
Yeah, but that's a lineman. That's a great one. Look, he got balls. He still got, they call him flop. Big old linemen, they make touchdowns. They just flop. That's the old Chicago flop. What's that one? He's a native of Chicago, played high school football there, wanted to play a big game today against the Bears. Look at that speed. And he's going to get a spike and a flop. Look, an over the shoulder, you can't beat that. And the old Chicago flop. And one thing about a lineman, you have to love them, Pat. They go head first when they flop. Head first. They don't hit the stomach first or anything. Right, just stick the head right into the end zone.
Boy, he just made some team with that dance. Whoa, that's a little different. It was 3-0 at the half, and all of a sudden it's 17-0 after that 23-yard return for a touchdown by Russell, Maryland. His first NFL touchdown.
You know, when he grew up in Chicago, he really didn't want to play football. When he was in high school, he weighed like 320 pounds, and they nicknamed him the Fridge, and he said he didn't like it.
He also said he could have gone to Notre Dame on an academic scholarship as Lewis downs it in the end zone.
But he went and played football, and is he happy?
He made the right choice.
Yeah, they even... We talked about Emmitt Smith. You know, every time he break records and he's leading leagues and, you know, breaking Cowboy records. Now, this one's going away for Russell, Maryland, too. Big old linemen don't get many opportunities to score, so Emmitt Smith is there, and right next to it is Russell, Maryland.
Well, the way the season has gone for Dallas, they're going to have to get a bigger trunk.
I know, but you still have to like that, you know, that thing that he did there in the end zone. I mean, that up, over the back spike, and then flop head first.
Pure. In the direction of Morgan a little too far as he was under pressure again from Haley. And wet.
You know,
flag on the play.
Fuhrer might get blamed for that, but it was a pretty good pitch. He pitched it to Darren Lewis, and the ball was right there, and that ball just hit Darren Lewis on the shoulder pads, bounced up in the air, and Russell, Maryland got it off of Darren Lewis's shoulder pads. Went right through his hands.
Two fouls on the defense. Defensive holding in the backfield. Personal foul, roughing the passer, late hit, number 78. The roughing the passer will be accepted. 15, first down.
Number 78 is big Leon Lett. Again, you see Furr throw the ball there. He's throwing it, he's standing, and Lett just tees off on him.
That's the first penalty against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was a good call. I mean, I mean, the ball was gone. There was a thing you have to be able to pull up on that.
Lewis is split wide to the left this time. Fuhrer. He might have changed the play and got rid of it in a hurry. Too much of a hurry. Lewis was the intended receiver.
Yeah, one thing that's happened to the Bears today, and it's happened to them all year, is they just can't run the ball anymore. In fact, all year they haven't had 100-yard rusher. And you take a Mike Ditka football team and the Bears, and it's always been based on the ability of the offense to run the ball in a dominant defense. And they don't have that this year, and they haven't had it the last couple of years.
Well, they lost Jim Colbert, the fine left tackle. They lost Jay Hilgenberg this year. That's 2 out of 5 in that offensive line. The rest have been playing some hurts, incomplete. Eric Wright.
Well, and one of the big things, too, is they really don't have team speed. You look at the Bears, and it's kind of like the Redskins a little. You feel that they just don't have the speed that some of the other teams do. And I think Mike Ditka knows that. We're talking to him last night, and he says he knows what he needs. He needs more team speed. He needs a speedy outside receiver. He needs a couple corners. He needs a safety.
He said,
he needs a couple linebackers.
I need some show dogs.
Yeah, he said, that's the problem. We don't have any show dogs.
I need somebody we can show off.
Now, there's a show dog.
Right.
But if you want someone that you can show off, the Emmitt Smith, the Pro Bowl players, the Bears have no players in the Pro Bowl.
Buehler goes deep. Morgan went short. Incomplete.
In talking to Mike Ditka, I think he expects to be back. He doesn't sound like a coach who has given up. He doesn't sound like a coach who doesn't want to, still be here. He does want to be there. I think a lot of it's going to be up to what Mike McCaskey decides. But this guy has always been a coach, is still a coach, is a heck of a coach. Mike McCaskey will make that decision.
There are other mountains to climb, is what Richard said. This is Kelvin Martin with room. Dragged down at midfield. A good return. Fumble at the end. Blackwell knocked the ball loose. And I believe Dallas got it back. 48-yard punt, a 40-yard return. So Dallas gets it back in good shape, leading 17-0. 17-0 Dallas over the Bears.
Kelly Blackwell, number 89, comes in, makes a tackle, strips the ball. Looked like the Bears had a chance to get it, but Clayton Holmes, number 47, recovers the fumble.
And a new quarterback for the Cowboys, Steve Berline, new running back, Irvin Richards. Berline, complete to Novacek. Stopped by Ron Cox, 8-yard gain. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys trying to win the most games ever for a Cowboy team. That would be 13.
And I think that was one of the things Jimmy Johnson wanted to do, is explode a little. They were ahead 3-0 at halftime, and then they came back in the second half and exploded with 2 quick touchdowns. And so he figured, okay, that's good enough. We're a little more crisp than we were. Let's start making some changes.
Irvin Richards, 2 yards.
The Bears have yet to cross the 50-yard line. You look at the time of possession here. The first half, 18:55. And then in the second half, in 2 minutes, they got 14 points. Took them down there 19 minutes to get 3 and a couple of minutes to get 14. And, of course, the big thing in that is Emmitt Smith and his great run. Darrell Johnston trap on that bend right. And the rushing record and all the things that go with that.
Irvin and Harper, still the wide receiver. That's to Harper. To the 15. Stopped by Ron Cox. David Tate. A pickup of 17.
One thing right now, when you take out a Troy Aikman and you put in a Steve Berline, you're looking at the best backup quarterback in football. You're looking at a quarterback who can be a starter on probably 75% of the teams in this league. In fact, he proved last year he could be a starter on this team and take the team to the playoffs, which he did when Troy Aikman was injured.
And likely he will be a starter somewhere next year.
Yeah, because his contract is up, and I think the Cowboys know that they would like to have him, but they're probably not going to have him.
Irvin in motion. Down inside the 10. A pickup of 5.
Number 49, David Tate, stop.
Like Harper might have been shaken up a little bit on that last pass completion from Berline. In fact, he put his mouthpiece on the ground. 2nd and 5. Richards to the 8. Single Terry made the stop, the gain of 3.
Jimmy Johnson always liked Kirvin Richards. In fact, he always said that he would probably play more, but you never want to take Emmitt Smith out of the game. But if you did, he's not afraid to put Kirvin Richards in. And before the game, he was down there in the field telling Richards he's going to play today, and he wants him to hit the holes quick and slash. He told him slash and dash when you get in there today.
And Emmitt Smith never wants to come out of the game.
No, and if you had Emmitt Smith, there'd be no reason to ever take him out of the game.
Right.
They'd have to give. If you were a coach and you took Emmitt Smith out of the game in a normal competitive game, they'd give you an MRI.
Berline let the 30-second clock run down, the 25-second clock run down to 1, and then he took a time. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern Time. New Year's Day here on CBS. Irvin split wide to the right, now goes in low. 32. Berline, low. Flag on the play. Flag on the far side of the field.
It's interesting. When Aikman was in there, his receivers were Smith, Irvin, and Johnson. Berline's been in there, and his receivers been Novacek and Harper. Of course, he can't throw to Emmitt Smith unless they threw one behind his back to the bench.
This is going to be against the Bears.
Nate, did you have an MRI this year? Yeah, he did.
Offside, lining up in the neutral zone, number 95 defense. Half the distance, penalty. The penalty is enough for a first down, goal to go.
In that game, Seattle leading 14-13. They just went ahead, but the big news there is that the starting San Diego quarterback, Stan Humphries, separated his shoulder. Left shoulder. That could be big news. Richard. Touchdown, Dallas. 3 yards away.
Jimmy Johnson told me today, when you get in there, slash and dash. And I'll tell you on that one, he dashed. He dashed right into the hole, started left, just bent it back a little to his right. See him start left, and he bends it back a little to the right, finds that soft spot, and slashes it and dashes it and slashes it right into the end zone.
The extra point is good. That was Ben's left, by the way. 24-0. Weekend the NFL playoffs began, and we'll have a wild card game next Sunday. It's football's second season. The 49ers have the league's best record. The Viking defense has carried them to a division title. Philadelphia hasn't won a playoff game in 12 years, but everybody's looking for the pinnacle reached by the Redskins last year. The playoffs begin next week. The NFC wild card here on CBS.
And that'll be some game we have with the Philadelphia Eagles playing in New Orleans against the Saints. The Saints have been tough anywhere all year, but in that dome, I'll tell you, they're a tough team to play.
Lewis stays in the end zone. Here's the Cowboy touchdown.
Well, you'll see Kirvin Richards is going to start the ball. He's going to start to his left, and then you see right here, he starts to this side, then he's going to cut it back. He sees this hole right here, and he's going to cut it back to this side. See that? He starts it to the left and then just bends it right back to the right. That's what the play is called, bend right.
His first NFL touchdown.
And that'll probably go in that box someplace. In that front, we got Emmitt Smith there, where he led the league in rushing. We got Russell Maryland, his first touchdown, and Kirvin Richards, his first touchdown.
Sure, thanks to throw, gets it outside to Anderson, incomplete. Hit by Dixon Edwards.
Those are two guys that Jimmy Johnson says that he wanted to get in today was Dixon Edwards and Godfrey Miles, the other linebacker. Said he'd like to get them in some work. You know, they play special teams, but they haven't gotten them in much at linebacker, and he thinks that Edwards is probably as good as his starting linebackers, but they just haven't had an opportunity to play him that much.
Not
They would like to see him today. And there's Miles playing the other side.
That's Neil Anderson. Wrapped after a 3-yard pickup by Tony Tolbert. Mike Singletary.
You wonder what's going through Mike Singletary's mind now. And like he said, he told the team last night his career with the Bears has been like a bell curve. Started low, went to the top, that 85 season, the pinnacle. He said he's going out on a low. But he wanted today to be a win. He wanted to go out and make it fun, to dominate. Those things didn't happen, but that's not going to affect the great career that Mike Singletary's had.
He had 5 tackles today. Anderson alone setback, Pure to throw it. Complete to Wendell Davis.
There you go.
That'll move the chains for the Bears. 14-yard pickup, stopped by Thomas Everett.
You know, Wendell Davis, if he would have thought about running, I think he could have broke that thing. Looked like he was thinking about going down, and the Cowboy tacklers really didn't put him down. He could have just broken that thing and run right through it. The Bears, I don't think, have crossed midfield yet today. So that could be a big thing right here. If they can complete a pass and get across midfield, that will have broken a Texas milestone this Sunday after Christmas.
That's a sad milestone. Here they come after Fuhrer again. The pass is picked off by James Washington. Washington still running. And down at about the 38. No Texas milestone.
They've been going after Fuhrer all day. As I said, the Cowboys are not a blitzing team. But we've seen them bring linebackers like this. We've seen them bring corners. We've seen them bring safeties. We knew going into the game that they were going to do it. And I think when they saw Will Fuhrer start today, they really decided to double up on it.
You know, John, in that year of 1985 that you were talking about when the Bears were so dominant, here's the interception again. They beat the Cowboys 44-0 on the way to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, that was the year that we did like 7 or 8 Cowboy games, and we never saw a touchdown scored against them.
Bear game.
Bear game?
Right.
I mean, that Bear defense that year, that 85 was probably the most dominant defense I've ever seen.
Pass intended for Irvin. Now they want him to get that yardage leadership. Berline slow getting up.
Yeah, and I think Berline is hurt on that one. I mean, one thing about the Cowboys, you know that they only have 2 quarterbacks, and Berline is going to take the hit quite a bit after he throws that ball.
By Zorich.
And you know that once Aikman is out, he takes his pads and stuff off. He isn't going to go back in. In fact, Troy Aikman is smiling. He's stuck in his jersey, but he doesn't want to go back in.
He may have to.
Aikman knows it. Berline knows that, though, too.
Berline to Richards. Richards will have a Cowboy first down, stopped by Carrier.
And you know who else knows it is the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, who's done such an outstanding job, Norv Turner. And I would think that Norv Turner may keep the ball on the ground more than
I would think so.
He intended to. One, you'll get the game over with more quickly, and 2, you won't subject the quarterback to any beating.
There's Norv on the left side of the picture.
Yeah, there's Norv right there. What a job he's done. I mean, he came to this Cowboy team as the offensive coordinator. In fact, he's helped Troy Aikman so much that Troy Aikman was telling us yesterday that he gave Norv a Christmas present for he and his wife. He's going to fly him to Hawaii for a vacation.
Berline out to Richards. Richards near the 20. Roper stopped him after a gain of 6.
Yeah, we're talking about Norv Turner and what he did or what he's done or what he's doing with Troy Aikman. If you look In his first 2 years, his completion average was 54.9, which is pretty good. And his last 2 years, since Norv Turner, that guy right there has been there, his completion average is 64.8. He's thrown 34 touchdowns and 24 interceptions. So Norv Turner has really helped Troy Aikman.
You know, you think about this Cowboy coaching staff, and the name you hear most often is that of Dave Wannstedt, who runs the defense. But certainly Norv Turner would have to be considered, and it's something that Jimmy Johnson encourages too.
I think that Dave Wannstedt is going to be a head coach maybe this year. I mean, if he's not a head coach this year, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, he's going to be one next year. It looks like there's going to be some jobs open.
Looks like it.
New York Giants, Denver a possibility. There's talk about the Bears.
Talk about New England.
Yeah, something has to be done up there in New England. But, you know, here with the Bears, I mean, to me, you know, the Bears are down. They need some players, and they have to go out and get in the free agency market and compete, get some more speed on their team. And I cannot believe that Mike Ditka's not the guy to do it. I cannot picture the Bears without Mike Ditka as their coach. I think he's good for the Bears. He's good for Chicago. He's good for the NFL. I think we need more Mike Ditkas rather than fewer.
And you know, the more he talked last night, the more he got into what he needed and who was playing well and so on and so forth, the more he started talking about next year. And there's the man who will make the decision.
Yeah, that's Mike McCaskey, and he's going to make the decision as to whether to keep Mike Ditka or not. Mike says he doesn't really want control or power. He just wants everyone to be on the same page.
Richards struggled. Maybe he got the first down, maybe he didn't. Singletary again to make the stop. Say no gain.
You know, they had that dominant defense we were talking about in 1985 where we saw them and they didn't, you know, no one could score a touchdown against them, including this Cowboy team. And then as they lost those players, they never replaced them with dominant players. You know, Dent is still there, Singletary's still there, but the other guys were average players replacing in sometimes dominant or great players.
With the exception maybe of Steve McMichael, who Ditka was saying again is having probably the best year of all of them. Field goal line drive is good from 34 yards out. It's been a shaky day for the Dallas kicker, but that was good nevertheless.
And you wonder how good Jimmy Johnson feels about Lynn Elliott, because you're getting ready for the playoffs. You got a rookie kicker. He's probably been worried about it all year. He's had his ups and downs with him, mostly up. Then you get here at the end of the season, and your kicker is kicking those balls low and having a tough time getting in the goalpost, and you're going into the playoffs. This would give you a little worry. You're a guy like Jimmy Johnson, you're always trying to find something to worry about. And I think when your kicker starts kicking low ones, that's something to worry about.
Well, he'll have an extra week because the Cowboys have the bye. They'll host a playoff game here after the week off.
And they have everything going. I mean, they have the #1 defense. They play team defense well. They got the offense. It has a good offensive line. Troy Aikman, a great quarterback. Emmitt Smith. And when you put everything together, one of the best running backs in all of football. Michael Irvin. Harper's coming along. Jay Novacek. I mean, they have so many things that they can do and so many ways to go. They are a nightmare to defend.
Elliott's kickoff. Darren Lewis at about the 1. Lewis struggles to the 24. Vincent Smith made the stop. Mike Singletary getting a little bit of a rest. He made 6 tackles.
You know, he said yesterday after practice, after the final practice, that guy to his right is Richard Dent. After practice, they all jumped on him. Williams got him down, then Dent started jumping on him, McMichael jumped on him. The whole defensive line jumped on him. Said, how'd it feel? And he said, well, it was okay. He didn't even have any pads on, but that was the way they show their respect.
The only reason we did it was because we loved it.
Yeah, that's different. And football players do things in different ways. Richard Dent, who was sitting right next to Mike Singletary, says we did it because we love you. We saw Russell Maryland celebrate by going head first into the turf. And, you know, it's a memory, too, for the Richard Dent. You know, it's not only Mike Singletary's last
Ball
game.
starts before the snap. Number 73, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
So it's going to be against the Bears.
But, you know, it's the last time that Richard Dent ever plays with Mike Singletary or Steve McMichael or William Perry. You know, it's the last time they play together. So it's big and it's emotional for Singletary, but it's big and emotional for guys like Armstrong and Dent and Perry and all the rest of the guys that have played so many years with him.
It's Mark Green this time, the ball carrier from the Bears. Pick up a 5, stopped by Thomas Everett.
Number 31, Mark Green.
You know, then you wonder what's going to happen to Harbaugh. You know, he's been the quarterback, and in fact, that's one of the things I think between Mike McCaskey and Mike Ditka is McCaskey believes that Harbaugh is a great quarterback, and he's the quarterback now for the Bears. He's a quarterback of the future, and then of course they start Will Fury. So you know something has to give in that area too.
No question about it. 2nd and 10. Will Fuhrer still the quarterback. Long look incomplete. Intended for Christian. And incomplete.
Like Mike Ditka was saying that maybe Jim Harbaugh's confidence will be helped by not starting. He started Peter Tom Willis 2 games, and again, Will Fuhrer here today. So, you know, I know a guy like Harbaugh. I know Jim Harbaugh, and he's going to say, you know, not playing will never help me. That's not how I get confidence. I get confidence by playing. I already have confidence. Just let me play.
Not today.
And maybe their season started to turn around on that famous interception against the Minnesota Vikings. That could have been the
You had to think that was one of the turning points. Here's Fuhrer back to throw. Pass complete to Anthony Morgan. Still going, but a flag on the play on the far side of the field. Larry Brown finally James Washington there with an assist.
Yeah, you hope,
a 40.
You hope it's not against the Bears, Pat, because it's the first time they got across the 50. In the area where it is, it's probably going to be against the Bears. We have a penalty down there against the Bears and an injured player on the 30.
That's Morgan.
Right offensive right guard. There were 2 seconds on the clock when the foul occurred. Please put 2 seconds on the clock.
That was against, what did he say, the right offensive right guard?
That's what he said. 2 rights.
Anthony Morgan, because he was the guy who caught the ball. Checking his left shoulder. See, they said that the right guard moved. You'll see that, you know, he makes the throw there to Morgan, and then Morgan is still down after the tackle.
27-0. There's Anthony Morgan. The story on him, and you think back and look around the NFL, and you see all the wide receivers, most of them with great speed, from the University of Tennessee.
You know, again, here was what they're calling right here. If the right guard moved before the ball is snapped, you can see the ball through the center's leg. I don't think so. I think that looked pretty good. That looked like the guy was just getting off the same time the ball was.
That was a close look to call that.
Yeah, that's a rookie, Jay Lewenberg, number 58. One of the guys that Mike Ditka thinks is going to be a good offensive lineman. One of the guys who, you know, he said he wanted to see play today. He thinks he has enough offensive linemen in Lewenberg and Big Louis Age and James Williams, who they moved over from defense to offense, that the Bear offensive line can change. They have enough bodies there to be pretty good.
Stan Thomas, he thinks he can be a guard.
And here's part of the group here. You talk about a guy, look at that number 79, Louis Age. He weighs 350 pounds.
6'7".
Now that, and they may play him a guard. Now that is a guard. That's bigger than old Gogan.
Gaddis, the intended receiver. Cowboy player, I think, not hurt, just upset that he didn't come up with an interception. Ken Norton.
Yeah, I mean, imagine putting that 79 in there at guard. I mean, how would you go around that thing?
That would make you age.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, here you are, and then you get him there in the pits with the center, and then how'd you like to be a defensive back and see old big Louis H. pulling? Your little 170-pound cornerback. And I'll tell you, you get down quick.
Gardaki's punt is a good one. Martin signals fair catch and makes it at about the 31. And that's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Dallas 27, Chicago nothing. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. Dallas 27, the Bears nothing as we begin the fourth quarter. Dallas owner Jerry Jones just stopped by to say hello.
Yeah, he had a big smile on his face, didn't he? He's wishing happy holidays and all that stuff. And when you're ahead 27-0 and you have the best record that the Cowboys have ever had in their history, you walk around with a lot of smiles in your face.
Pass complete to AG. For 7 yards from Berline, stopped by Marcus Paul. You know, you just think 4 years ago there weren't many smiles on anybody's face around here, including Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that's right. And then they come in and everyone says, you know, Jerry Jones, what's he doing? Bringing in Jimmy Johnson. He's a college guy. They don't know what they're doing. Well, I think they proved to the people in Dallas and to the people in the entire National Football League that they really do know what they're doing.
In that period of 4 years, they have gotten themselves into a situation where everybody else is starting to say, we need to be like them.
Yeah, well, they went out and they did the right things. They knew they didn't have the players, so they went out and they got players. And the big thing they did is they went out and they got speed.
Picked up by the Bears. So the Bears recover at the Cowboys 30-yard line. Ron Cox got the good bounce.
Hey, you're going to see Ron Cox. He's number 54 at the end of the line. He's coming on a blitz anyway. So he's going to be in the right place at the right time. Tommy Agee was going to block him. They were trying to kick him out, and everything happened right there. Yeah, this is the first time now. This will be the first time that the Bears crossed the 50. So they got some good field position here. Got some of those young offensive linemen in there. You see Stan Thomas now at right tackle.
Lewinberg next to him.
I want to see H in there. I want big Louis H to get in there.
Tried it back against the grain, stopped by Leon Lett.
Leon Lett has really become a pass rusher, but he's so big and strong. You just watch him here that he can play anything. I mean, he gets in there and he's just about impossible to block. I mean, he has size, he has quickness, he has strength, he has everything. And you say, Leon Lett, where'd he come from? Emporia State, a small school, but someday everyone is going to know about Leon Lett.
First time the Bears have been in Dallas territory. Third pass is picked off by Miles. And he's still on his feet. And back to about the 28-yard line where the Cowboys will take over. Intended for Kelly Blackwell. That's one of the players that Jimmy Johnson said yesterday he wanted to look at. And that'll put a vote in his.
Summary is sponsored by Energizer.
Emmitt Smith, 1,713 rushing yards, leads now the NFL. Total yards, the Bears have 86, the Cowboys 268. Dallas got 24 quick points in the third quarter. Troy has some fans. Troy Aikman, that would be, being evicted.
Yeah, they just kicked him out. They asked him to leave. They said, get out of there. And wonder at some point those guys had to say, well, this is what I'm going to wear today. And at some point, they're going to have to say, yep, this is it. I look good.
Everybody keeps saying they've improved the equipment.
How do you get to that point, though? And Troy Aikman is thinking, I don't want to be any part of that. He won't even look. But they got guys dressed up like women saying Troy ate, and he wants no part of it. And in fact, he has a drummer here from the group Shenandoah.
Right.
He's a big fan of Shenandoah. He travels on the bus with them. And the drummer from Shenandoah is here today.
So is the Masters champion, Freddie Couples. As a guest of Bill Bates.
Yeah, it was nice. We went out to the Dallas Cowboy practice yesterday, and in comes Bill Bates with Fred Couples, and Fred Couples is at this game today.
There's Bill Bates. He hasn't won the Masters yet.
He's won a lot of contests though with guys trying to block him when he's running down on a kickoff. Remember when he was in grammar school, they nicknamed him Bully Billy Bates? And then he comes out always one of our favorites.
Well, he's always excelled on special teams.
I remember how proud we were. He's been one of the all-Mad guys for years. Then they had triplets. They played that triplets. The whole all-Mad team was proud of that.
Berline's pass is intercepted by Wolford. A flag on the play. Back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, there's been one bright spot. However this turns out for the Chicago Bears today, it's been Donnell Wolford. And he's had a couple penalties against him, but I thought they were good coverage.
Illegal use of hand. Number 76 offense. Penalty decline. First down.
When things go wrong.
You
Things
see
going right here. I'm sorry.
He's still going against Michael Irvin. Yeah, that was called against the Cowboys in Vinegrad. But again, that's what Wolford did earlier. He cut Irvin off, and he had a penalty because he had some contact with him. That time, Berline looked at Michael Irvin too long, and Donnell Wolford got a real good jump on that ball. Now, this is the second time all day the Bears have been on this side of the 50-yard line. The last time, of course, was just a couple minutes ago when they threw an interception.
The fans, those who remain, want a shutout. The ball at 6. First and goal, and it's touchdown Bears by Mark Green. 6 yards away.
Mark Green gets that touchdown, but that's one you have to give to Wolford. Wolford has had a tough day covering Harper and covering Irvin all day. He's done an excellent job. He got the interception that put him in position to run that play. That was a trap play. There's still, I don't know, something happened to Wolford after that interception, and he looked like he limped off the field.
Yep.
But like I said, he's been one bright spot for this Bear team.
The extra point is good by Kevin Butler. And another of those you have to wonder about what's going to happen with Kevin Butler.
Coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1993 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. O'Doul's, the official non-alcoholic brew of designated drivers. And by the Discover card. It pays to discover. The card that pays you back.
Back at Texas Stadium, the proud home of the Dallas Cowboys again.
I think we got an onside kick coming up here, Pat.
I think so. Well, look at this.
We got a play. It's a play. Look at that. Load left.
Who's
Line
going to
up
kick
right.
it?
Load left.
Gardaki kicks it finally. A flag on the play. Back at the line of scrimmage. That's Clayton Holmes with the ball. Back out to about the 27, 28-yard line. But a penalty penalty marker down.
It was a trick. It was a good one. They had 2 kickers in there.
Yep.
Now, there's a trivia question. When's the last time you saw 2 kickers on one team on the same kickoff, one right-footed and one left-footed?
And did either one of them make the tackle?
And is it a legal play? Watch it. Here's it as a replay. Look, you load to the right. Shift. So someone yells, shift, shift. 2 of those guys are kickers in the middle. You say, who's going to kick? It's a fake. Here comes the other guy. He kicks.
First down.
And all that for naught because it was a penalty. The Cowboys declined it. They're going to take the ball. They don't want to have to see that one again.
Looked like somebody just let class out.
Well, that's Danny Abramowitz. He's the special teams coach now of the Bears. That's an Abramowitz original.
Burlines from Curvin Richards. Pick up a 3-yard stop by Zorich and Rivera. Getting back to the Bears again, and those who have been playing well, he says Chris Zorich has really started to come on. In fact, he practices so hard that he makes those around him look better.
Yeah, and that's what he says. You have to calm him down in practice because Zorich only knows one way to play, and that's going full speed all the time. And you need players like that. I mean, those players will always get themselves better, and they get other guys better.
Richards again, stopped by Zorich. What'd I do?
Look, he's trying to tell the crowd, let's go. There's Big Spellman, man. You get 285 pounds, you're only 5% body fat. You better not mess with him. You got like size 18 shoes on him.
It's skinny.
Yeah, Zorich started it, then he walked away. Spellman says, I want some of that. We come here to hit, let's hit. Want to go, we'll go.
There's Chris Zorich.
Yeah, Mike Ditka wanted to draft him in the first round. They didn't draft him in the first round. They got him in the second round. And from the time he was drafted or in college, he was one of Mike Ditka's favorites. Mike Ditka has always liked Chris Zorich. Look at him. He got signaled to the referee.
Tell me what I did. 27-7. Dallas leading the Bears. Interception by Donnell Wolford set up the Bears' only touchdown. Only the second time they've been in Dallas territory all day.
There's Big Louie Age. You'd still like to see him get in the game. I don't think we're going to.
I thought they were thrown out.
Well, they were over on the other side. I think earlier they were on the Cowboys side. Now they're on the Bears side.
Look at Emmett.
There's a guy who looks like he just won a league rushing title and is finished for the day. I think when you put on the baseball cap, you take off the shoulder pads and put the jacket on, you've had a great day. Look at him. You compare him his first 3 seasons with Tony Dorsett, and you see what kind of great back Emmitt Smith is.
This is A.G. A penalty marker on the play, but let's go back to Emmitt Smith for a minute.
Well, we were talking about him the way you compare his first 3 years, and it seems like he's been in the league longer than that, leading rusher 2 of those years. Look how he compares to Walter Payton. Walter Payton in his first 3 years gained 3,000. He gained 4,200. Payton's average was 4.6. Emmitt Smith's is 4.3. Walter Payton had 34 touchdowns. And you compare him to Jim Brown. Look at that. I mean, he's had more yards than Jim Brown, more carries, less average, and 1 more touchdown. So he compares favorably to Cowboy backs of the past, to backs that are going to be in the Hall of Fame like Walter Payton, and backs that are in the Hall of Fame like Jim Brown.
Great players. And he certainly deserves to be in that category, too. 4 yards for Richards. The 1992 leading rushers, Smith is the rushing champion, depending, of course, what happens to Thurman Thomas tonight. But he'd have to have one heck of a night, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he sure would. No, he's won the rushing title. Barry Foster had an amazing year for Pittsburgh. A second, Thurman Thomas, having a great year also. Barry Sanders, maybe the best pure running back. Terry Allen of Minnesota. An interesting fact: there's never been a player to lead the league in rushing and win a Super Bowl.
That's amazing.
That's the good news, bad news. The good news is you lead the league in rushing. The bad news is no one's ever won it. Holy moly!
Well, it's Zorich. Burline down, and Zorich is going to score. Touchdown for the Bears. Now that's a good spike.
Hey, that's the same type of touchdown that Russell Maryland got. This is a big day for defensive tackles. Big day for defensive tackles. And if you're a defensive tackle, all you do is laugh about it. They can't believe it.
A big laugh.
This is great. Well, you can be a guy, and you're usually there in the pits as defensive tackle. They're usually down there in the pits, and nothing happens. They get double team and triple team. That ball came off, hit him right in the face. Then bounced down, bounced right back up to him. Zorich put the ball in the right hand. See that? You always put it in the outside hand, which was his left hand.
Let's look at it again.
Yeah, he put on the afterburners. The guy got some speed. Watch him. He's going to come here. Then the ball's going to hit him in the head. Bounce up to him. Now watch. He puts the ball in the outside thing. In case you get hit and you fumble, the ball will go out of bounds. Zorich knows that. He's going all the way. And I'll tell you, for a defensive tackle, that doesn't look like a long run. You take that run and that spike, man, you need something to help you out.
You get tired.
Yeah, you go over and you get you some oxygen. Whoop! That'll take all the wind out of you. You see what he did?
Take a little shower.
Yeah, he spiked the ball, spiked the oxygen thing, and then threw 2 bottles of water on him.
I did it. 42 yards away, the ball just bounced out of Richard's hands, and Zorich got the good bounce.
I'll tell you, he's still huffing and puffing. Guys are saying, boy, you shouldn't be that tired. He said, oh, yeah, I'm not. Now he has to stand up to prove it. He's had the water on the head. He's had the oxygen. He's had everything.
There's Russell Maryland, who scored a touchdown for the Cowboys earlier. Points off the turnovers.
He probably wants to compare his to Zorich's. See who was better. See, Maryland caught his in the air. Maryland had a lot better end zone routine. His was better there. Zorich had to pick his off, did a better job of switching and turning on the burner.
Speaking of routines, let's see if we see that kickoff routine again.
I think we'll see some kind of routine here, and probably this time it'll be an onside kick. The Cowboys are in their onside prevent, where they have 9 men up in front and just 2 men halfway deep. And the Bears are going to switch something. I mean, they're going to do something and switch. You see, the Cowboys, they have that whole group up in front. That's called their hands team. And the Bears, you would expect some kind of onside kick.
Well, we didn't get it. Yardaki kicks it through the end zone and out, and they'll bring it back to the 20. Today's game was produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The coordinating producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The NFL Today was directed by Duke Struck. And the senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin.
One thing, when you sit on a ball today, you have to watch out, because those things, those brand new balls will leave a mark where you sit on them. Did you notice that on Thayer there? They're going to get rid of those guys. They'd had enough. They said, that's the end of these guys. Let's get them out of here.
Had it by the convenient handle. Tommy Agee.
He's had enough of that one. I think the guy's high up the aisle. And that's the last we're going to see of those guys.
You want to bet?
This will be the last I'm going to see of them. I'll bet you Troy Aikman doesn't want to see him.
No.
I bet you Shenandoah doesn't want to see him. I bet you Freddie Couples doesn't want to see him. Jimmy Johnson doesn't want to see him. Mike Ditka doesn't want to see him.
Keep going.
Jerry Jones doesn't want to see him.
Novacek, the receiver.
Rutabagas don't want to see him.
Turnips
Don't want to see him. Now, this is something you don't see a lot. Running backs, 3 touchdowns today. Of course, Emmitt Smith, one of the all-time greats. But big old defensive tackles, 2 touchdowns today. Man, that does your heart good. I mean, that makes you be proud because those guys spend so much time in the pits. Like, I mean, Zorich is still tired from that 42-yard run. He's still huffing and puffing. That takes a lot out of a guy who's used to taking 1 step and getting zapped by 2 guys.
3rd and 5. Berline back to throw it. Martin, first down at the 35. David Tate on the stop, a gain of 10.
You see that play there, Zorich, after he was tired, he had the big run, then he got double teamed. Usually get double teamed in there on everything, the run and the pass protection. Watch him, he's going to be right here, and he's just going to get, you see, you get the guard on him, and then you get the center on him, then you get everyone on him. Those guys, they don't know what they're doing in there, and then they get a ball and they get touchdowns, and he can get tired just carrying those arms around. You got to pack those arms around. You could breathe heavily.
You could say the same thing about Spellman.
Yeah, but he only has 5% body fat, whatever that.
Draw play to AG. Got a couple of yards, stopped by Zorich and Spellman. 2 of the future players, maybe stars, they hope, of the Bears.
Donnell Wolford had a great 3 quarters, and after that, I think Zorich has really taken over this game, and Spellman has played all over. He's been a defensive tackle and a defensive end, but he's the guy, as you say, he's going to be the future of this Bear defensive line. Spellman, Zorich, those guys. Trace Armstrong is still a young guy. He's only a 4th-year guy.
2nd and 8. Harper gets the reception. Lost the ball. The Bears have it. David Tate. Finally still on his feet.
I don't think he went down.
I don't think he did. He might have gone out of bounds, but I don't think he went down. Stepped out of bounds way back.
Yeah, it was funny when I saw that. When I saw Tate come in here, I thought he was taking a cheap shot. I thought he was swinging like his right forearm at him, trying to hit him in the head, and he came up with the football.
The receiver is down by contact at this point. First down.
Well, no interception. They say that Harper was down by contact, and so it's a Dallas first down.
You watch David Tate come in there. David Tate is number 49. He's right there in the middle of the picture. Berline starts back. He throws a good pass here. Now the ball just comes out before it goes down. That wasn't down.
No.
He took the ball out before he went down.
First down.
Now they've changed it.
Now he got it. Now he got it straightened. Because that was right. Just watch him. See, he doesn't go down. Watch Tate come in here. See, I thought he was going to hit him in the head. He grabbed the ball with his left hand out of Harper before Harper ever went down. Look at the Fridge Perry. He's telling him, go like Zorich. Zorich ran faster than Tate.
Well, watch his move right here. Rolls over the pile, back up on his feet. All the way to the end zone, but it drilled an interception back at the 41-yard line.
The last 4 times the Cowboys have had the ball, they've turned it over.
That's not the way to go to the playoffs. Fuhrer chased out of the pocket, gets rid of it. And the pass is intercepted by Kevin Smith. And now he's an excited young man. Not him. Smith. 4 turnovers apiece today.
There is a rookie who has become a veteran during the season. Kevin Smith. He started at left corner. He started at right corner. And Jimmy Johnson said the guy is a playmaker. And I think that he is going to be tested in the playoffs, but I think that he can win some of those tests.
They've got a lot of guys who are playmakers. They're going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, he had the pair of gloves that he wore in Texas A&M for 4 years. There was lucky gloves. He lost them, and he's been trying to find a new pair of lucky gloves.
AG, the tailback, gets down to about the 46. A gain of 4, stopped again by Zorich and Rivera. Rivera playing the middle linebacker position, vacated by Mike Singletary.
Yeah, you talk about Zorich being in on every play in practice. He's playing this second half like it's a practice. He's been in every play there. He's been scoring touchdowns. He's been stopping runs. He's been pass rushing. I say, what more do you want from a guy?
2nd and 6.
He's trying to find some oxygen. In this artificial turf, you don't get any oxygen out of the grass.
And it does get hot.
Plus those 5 guys that they just took out of here took some oxygen with them.
To about the 41-yard line, stopped by John Roper. A gain of 5 for AG. Normally a fullback, but as you see, he can also play tailback.
Of all the things that are bad about artificial turf, the injuries and the foot getting caught and all that stuff, there's some other thing. I mean, it's harder because it's just cement under there. This isn't a good carpet. This is a worn-out carpet here in Dallas. And like I said, out of grass, you get oxygen. And when you just have plastic and carpet, you don't get any. That's why you never see many guys take a knee and try and get their head down on artificial turf. All you're going to get is some dust.
There's blitz faked by Berline. Pass complete to Novacek. Out of bounds at about the 20. Richard Payne knocked him out. Chris Zorich, by the way, has had 6 tackles since he's been playing. It's going to be first down for the Cowboys at about the 13.
See, Berline goes on that bootleg. He fakes to his back, going to the left, and then he rolls out to the right. Then you get the tight end coming from the way the back fakes. So that really fouls up linebackers. The back gets him going one way, then the tight end, in that case Jay Novacek, comes across him as they're going towards the back, then the quarterback bootleg. If you got all that, put it on a chart.
Jay Novacek leading all the tight ends in the NFL. To the 10. Stopped again by Zorich. That's Mike Singletary a minute ago, and somebody said go in the game. You think he's not ready?
Did you notice how his look changed, though? I mean, he looked like he was kind of, talking to guys, and someone said something like, go in, and he got that look that we've seen over the years a million times.
And he's the middle linebacker, 2nd and 7. Cowboys at the Bear, 10-yard line. Johnston in motion, the handoff to AG. Down to about the 5. Stopped by Ryan, number 99.
Yeah, where's Zorich? He ought to get in there.
There he is.
Yeah. He finally got in there. Zorich has been in on everything else. He's going to get in on a little scrape.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. A CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys, CBS, and the National Football League is prohibited. This is a Bear timeout. Dallas has the ball at the 5.
You wonder what guys think of when it's their last game and the Bears, once this game is over, they all go home. side, of course, they're all thinking playoffs.
Well, you wonder if you're a Chicago Bear who's going to be back and who's not going to be back. Whether it's going to be Ditka. If you're a player, will I be back? You know he won't be back.
And you know, I mean, here you are, someone calls you, you get up there in the sideline, you're still waiting to go in if your team needs you. Of course, they have that patch there that he's wearing. That's in honor of Mike Singletary. They've been wearing that the last 3 games. There he goes, he's going in.
So
he's
is
taking his buddies with him in the fridge.
Right.
And Morrissey.
Payne. Wolford.
Every middle linebacker has to have a goal line stand. Here's one last goal line stand for Mike Singletary.
2. Hammers down to a first down for Dallas. Zorich and Perry made the stop. 3-yard pickup. We're going to have a 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left with Dallas leading 27-14. An NFC wildcard playoff game as the postseason gets underway. The Eagles are looking for their first playoff win in 12 years. The Vikings hope that a rookie head coach can lead them to a Super Bowl. And football's winningest team, the 49ers, hope Steve Young can continue his hot hand. The playoffs start next week. We'll have the wildcard game Sunday here on CBS. 49ers will be tough. That's our game next Sunday. The Eagles and the Saints at the Dome in New Orleans, and that'll be tough.
And here's the goal line stand. That could be tough.
Novacek on the move. The handoff is to A.G. Stop right at the line of scrimmage. Sean Gale with the defense. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Pat Summerall along with John Madden. Our score here is 27-14, the Cowboys leading. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast and the Mountain Time Zone. Emmitt Smith of the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith got enough yards to lead the NFL in rushing. There he is. Off with the pads. Off with the hat. Well, in the back. Gone with the hat. Sorry. The NFL leader in rushing. Emmitt Smith. Off with the socks. I hope it stops somewhere.
And of course, he's going to be the winner. He led the league in rushing this year. Last year he led the league in rushing, and he'll be crowned again today the rushing leader in the NFL, which is a real feat not only for Emmitt Smith, but for all his teammates.
Again, Berline. Richard Dent with a big hug for Mike Singletary, defending that goal line, as he has done so often. And we here at CBS wish him the best. And him too. So they run it out and run out the regular season of 1992 as the Cowboys won it 27-14.